Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Terra Mystica, some more competitive Terra Mystica. If you watched my kind of announcement video about my joining this Fjords League, then you were expecting this, and otherwise it's a pleasant surprise for you, I suppose. We're playing, by the way, in Division 3. Terra Mystica tournament is much, much larger. There's 700 players or something in it. And this league has only 42 players, maybe 41, I'm not sure. So Division 3 is the lowest division there is, and I think it only has 3 leagues in it, where you would want 4. Yeah, that sounds right. Anyway, so if you're not at all familiar with Fjords or Fire and Ice, you might want to go watch the announcement video where I talk about the structure, where I announce this tournament and walk through the Fire and Ice expansion rules. But if you're already familiar with that stuff, then let's get going on our first faction selection. I have not looked at this page at all until this very moment, so these are my first impressions. Obviously, I looked at the Fjords map. Oh, hang on. I know what the Fjords map looks like, but I haven't looked at like the random setup for this game. The first thing I notice is that we have our expansion scoring is for outposts, buildings along the edge of the map. I saw a game. I looked at some of the previous Fjords League finished games. I saw one thing that I thought was pretty cool. In I believe, yeah. It was one where outpost scoring was encouraged. I saw the Mermaids do something pretty cool. They built 2 towns, and almost exclusively built on the edge. They had like 8 buildings on the edge or something insane like that. They built like a stronghold town here, I think. I'm pretty sure there was a stronghold. Doesn't matter. Just along this bottom edge here. So that's 4 already. Did they get to I6? I don't remember. No, they didn't. Because I remember Cultists and Darklings were having a fight over here. And incredibly, Cultists took I6 3 digs away. So anyway. But no, the Mermaids had 1 town here. And the other town was just 7 dwellings. From I1 to B1. How cool is that? And it only took 1 double dig, and the rest was all single digs. So it's still a lot of digs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digs. That's more than a town usually takes. But you get more dwellings out of it than usual, so that's nice. Anyway, so that was kind of cool. I don't know if that's necessarily what we're going to do here, especially since I noticed there's no water scoring or water income. On the other hand, there is like dwelling scoring in rounds 1 and round 2, and I feel like Mermaids are fairly good at like shipping their way to a lot of dwellings in round 2 and perhaps in round 1. I don't know. They don't have that much easily accessible. You know, you could like you get to these 2 if you had 2 shipping. I'm not sure actually. It's kind of hard to see how to use shipping to do much of anything in round 1 as Mermaids. If you get the shipping bonus tile, maybe. No, it's not. Yeah, there it is. And there is the shipping scoring tile as well, which also encourages Mermaids. But okay, there's just like I feel like these 6 extra factions are a humongous increase in complexity in faction selection to me. Because this isn't just 6 extra factions, right? Each of them could choose any one of 7 colors. Which makes it really complicated, I think. Both in like, oh, I could choose, you know, green Yetis, but also if I choose witches, then my opponents might choose blue dragon lords or something, right? Like crazy. So it's harder for me to figure out all the possibilities that could be happening. So I'll probably, especially in game 1, be trying to evaluate more on just like what oh, the other thing I want to do is keep the these statistics handy so I can be reminded of like who is generally playable on Fjords. I think it's basically like all the same factions who are playable in base, except like mermaids are a little bit worse. Yeah. But I do want to have this handy. So I could try to do like, oh, what are my opponents like? But I actually like, I don't know, 1240. Yeah, let's actually do a quick look. Just out of curiosity, 1240, 1137, 775. Wow. And since this league is much newer, there's not the same automation and integration as the tournament stuff. So there is no like, you have to go look at a Google Docs spreadsheet to see how they've done in previous seasons. Okay, so all right, let's. I hate this. I hate doing this live on camera, but I forgot to do it earlier, so let's just delete that. Delete that, delete that, delete that, delete this whole section, just so I can like see stuff with a little bit less scrolling. Oh, let's delete this too. Okay. I'll need to bring it back when I want to actually pick a faction because I deleted the confirm button, but we can do that with just a refresh. So I just want to be able to see the round tiles and the bonus tiles at the same time to evaluate who seems playable. Obviously, like, Darklings are always generally pretty playable. Something that kind of appeals to me is cultists. Notice there is a cult income in every stage, which of course there is, right? But no, one of them is coins for priests. And cultists are no better at that than anyone else is. So they're happy to not have that be in the game, I think. And also there's like good repetition here. There are in general 5 income phases, and over 4 colors there might be only 1 duplicate. For example, if this air were water, there would be only 1 duplicate, the 2 fire rounds. And so having 2 repeated cults is another like nice thing for the cultists. Also, they start with air, with fire and earth, don't they? Let me just yeah, fire and earth. So we would have a leg up on, well, 2 of the important cults and sort of one of the most important. That said, this is not the most amazing cult bonus, right? It's generally regarded as one of the weakest, maybe the weakest, because 4 power is just not worth as much as a spade, and comparatively, it's not really worth as much as other stuff available, right? Would you rather have 4 power or 2 workers? Usually, you'd rather have 2 workers. So this is generally like the weakest cult early. Except for maybe Temple, which would be even worse for cultists. So this is kind of a downer. And this is not really encouraging what the cultists like to do early either. They kind of like to build a temple, maybe sometimes even 2 temples. I don't know. This is a great tile to have early for cultists. They love getting earth, and they love getting spades. So having it in round 3 instead of round 1 is less exciting. So cultists, though, still seem playable. There's good repeated cult bonuses. Or anyway, there's repeated cult bonuses. And also 2 early-ish spade bonuses, which they like. Orin are good at repeating cults, but Orin are just as trash here as they were on the old map. Witches? I don't know, not really. Oh, by the way, late Sanctuary Stronghold scoring, kind of nice for cultists, isn't it? You're happy to build a stronghold in round 5. And then dwellings in round 6, sure, seems fine. One of the questions to ask is, what about edge scoring? That's a downside for cultists, because they like to build near neighbors, and all of the kind of exciting stuff in the early game is happening in the middle. So if you want to start like here and here or something to be near some good friends, it's kind of hard to get towards the edge, right? You can start here, but then you have no friends. Like, Brown has great spaces near the edge, which is, here, but like, you don't want them as cultists. You have to get to them later. So you might choose, okay, I'll start here or something to be near perhaps Darklings. I don't know. But Darklings wouldn't start here if cultists were here, so that doesn't really work. I don't know. Here... Yeah, actually, how do you get next to Darklings? It's hard, right? You could go here, and you get H5, and cultists get G6, and then they ship over here, and you dig to here? Or they could even dig to here. It's not the end of the world. Spend 3 digs. But 3 digs for 2 tiles is worse than 2 digs for 3 tiles, so they would probably prefer to have some shipping. Who else is playable? Again, mermaids, early dwelling scoring seems appealing, but I can't actually find any ways to connect them up, and apparently mermaids are not that great on this map. Witches are, like, apparently really good. And I don't think anyone would let us have the shipping bonus in round 1 with dwelling scoring. That would be pretty amazing, right? If we could start, here, which has great access to this clump, but also can ship to here for a second town in this area, maybe. Although, it's hard to build a town like this because you need a neighbor to make a 3-tile town like this. It would be nice if you could have, like, Chaos Magicians here, but why would they do that? Maybe this doesn't seem very good. Darklings, they seem playable. This is all totally reasonable looking Darkling stuff. You'd prefer these to be earlier, but, at least the Stronghold scoring bonus tile is in the game. What is there less income of? We're or less of on the bonus tiles, right? We're down 6 of the 14 coins, so that's sizable. We're missing the 4 coins in occult step, and we're missing 2 coins in dwelling scoring, and we're also missing trading post scoring and a worker. Okay, so there's plenty of power to be had, for what that's worth. Also no coin income up here. No coin income on the cult track, and you're missing several coins in the bonus tiles. You might consider taking something like engineers then, because they're good. They thrive in a low coin environment. Alchemists do too, but they really need a lot of scoring bonus tiles. 2 is just not enough, and these aren't even the right 2. So I think if you were going black, it would be Darklings. Halflings seem unplayable. Basically, like, you pick halflings if there's dig in round 4 and under no other circumstances, and I don't know, maybe 3 occasionally, but I don't see anything compelling that argues for halflings here. Fakirs, awful. Nomads, probably playable, but they wouldn't be my first pick. I'm not sure how you would build them. Chaos Magicians, probably playable if you pick them in a late seat, like 4th, to get the Sanctuary Stronghold scoring or bonus tile. Not sure where you would start. It kind of depends on who the first players are, but anyway, I'm not picking them. So what about gray? I mean, so far, like, mermaids seem like they might be playable. Witches are usually playable. We'll have to, if we do take them, we'll have to figure out how to, like, I don't know. Also, I guess it is worth noting the repeated cult bonuses are the strongest one is air. So if we started with a temple in round 1, we might very well secure the first air priest, getting us to 5 air. But even if we don't, we're still at 4. So we kind of get a free dig in round 2 just for spending our first priest. So that's kind of a tempting opening. It's not totally clear how to capitalize on the dwelling scoring as witches. And remember that when you're playing the game after faction selection, generally in the early game, you don't want to worry too much about the points because it's more important to build your economy. But during faction selection, you kind of do want to pay attention to the points because you have so many choices. If you can find any of them that do something reasonable and also line up with the early scoring, that's a plus. And it's not so easy for me to see how witches are going to line up with early scoring unless someone's insane enough to give us the shipping tile, which will never happen as player 1 with dwelling scoring in round 1. Mermaids might want it. Anyone might want it, right? Darklings can use it. Interestingly, Chaos Magicians don't have any 1-tile shipping. I guess that's in exchange for them having a great space here and here. Like, they have much more suitable tiles that don't require shipping than on the original map. Right, there's 2 great spots here. This is fine. This is great. This is kind of bad. This is okay as like a 3rd town or something. This is fine. So that's why Chaos Magicians don't have such beautifully shippable tiles. They have nice diggable tiles instead. Giants just inexcusably bad. Engineers, as I say, seem playable. Dwarves? There's a thought. Late stronghold and followed by dwelling scoring is definitely an incitement to play dwarves because you can build your stronghold and then do a bunch of tunneling. They also have some pretty okay outpost tiles. You can hop to A7 and then A6 quite easily. A5, I should say. Assuming you establish a presence on this continent, which, like, why wouldn't you? This is an okay spot. It's a little bit difficult to form an actual perfect town, though. I guess you can do it for 3 digs here. Or here. Yeah, there's plenty of ways to get a town on this continent as dwarves. This is also 3 digs, I guess. This is 3 digs. Okay. And then it's a little tough, but you could tunnel to D1, C3, E2, C1 to get to the edge. Doesn't seem that worthwhile. But maybe. Your 2 Earth Steps are going to kind of go to waste early. I don't know. So far, my front runners are Witches, Darklings, and Engineers, which is not a surprise. Oh yeah, Cultists too. They all seem okay. But I don't think I like Cultists as much as Witches. Witches get a start on the most important cult right away. And I don't know. Round 3 town scoring is kind of a bummer, but they could try to get there with Fire 2. Because witches tend to want 3 towns. I understand strong players can, in some circumstances, produce 4 towns with the right setup, and I'm like, that sounds insane. I can kind of understand alchemists doing it, but anyone else, it just seems unbelievable. Apparently Darklings can, because they get so many digs. Witches, if you took Witch's Ride, maybe. That's a thought. We could go Witch's Ride to capitalize a little bit on the early dwelling scoring. Not a lot. In some ways, it's anti-capitalizing because you spend all your workers building a stronghold and then you get one dwelling down. You know, if you had the strongholds bonus tile, that would be another thing, but we're never going to get that. Or shipping, I don't think. Yeah, what bonus tiles will be picked early on? That's an interesting question. This one, this one, this one. Yeah, those are three very hot tiles, usually, in a dwelling round anyway. Shipping is less exciting when it's not a dwelling round. So we're going to be stuck choosing from this, the priest, shipping scoring, the priest, worker power, or coins, I suspect. So that might influence our choices here somehow. Now, an interesting thought is that the volcano factions are good at building dwellings in round 1 because they kind of have a bunch of free digs available. Right? Acolytes have as many as 4 digs if they want to blow all their power. We might prefer to keep air. That would be 3 digs, right? And you can place dwellings with each of those. The Dragon Lords have 4 digs. If you're willing to remove 4 power. I don't know if I am. We'll see. On the other hand, the presence of digs on the cult track is sort of discouraging to the volcano factions because they don't get that much use out of them. Actually, Dragon Lords do, but Acolytes don't. Because for a Dragon Lord, a spade is roughly a dig. Because it gives you 1 power and you can spend 1 power to dig, or 2 if you want someone else's home terrain. So actually Dragon Lords seem like an interesting way to take advantage of this. They start with 2 fire. So if we took the priest tile, we could take advantage of this, I guess. It's not very compelling though, right? Could give us more workers later, but that's, I don't know, not that great. Yetis, I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of power available, so that's nice for them. But are they good at early towns? Probably. But only if they build their sanctuary or stronghold early, and you'd rather save that for the next round. So, I think these two kind of like cancel each other out. You'd rather build your stronghold much earlier as Yetis. They're like the nomads or swarmlings, and they have a very strong stronghold ability, and so they would like to build it early. I don't see any reason to pick Ice Maidens in first seat. The main reason to do it would be to like guarantee Earth 1 usually, but why would you do that in first seat? You can just take it the normal way. I don't have any idea when shapeshifters are good, so I'm going to guess not here. The funny thing about picking Acolytes or Dragon Lords in first seat is you don't even know what terrain you're going to have, because you don't know what the next 3 players are going to pick. I think they're usually bad to pick in first seat anyway. You pick them more if you like see that someone else is having too easy a time and you want to mess up their terrain. So I think I probably shouldn't pick them, even though it seems like they benefit from the dwelling scoring a bit. Huh. Yeah. I think witches are probably pretty good. especially since blue is not so great on this map, witches tend to have easier access to space. Now, of course, darklings will want to take your blue, so you have someone fighting, but not like having a direct color neighbor who wants your tiles and you want theirs. And witches, as I say, they get this air and they get this air, and they can try to get a town going by this time. I'm just thinking it's a little bit awkward because you want a Fire 2 town, probably. And that means taking a second favor, because I assume you're starting with Earth 1 here. There's no real reason not to. I guess you could go for Econ somehow, but again, you would need Fire 2. I don't know. I mean, I guess it is... Especially with the expansion scoring, it is reasonable to get enough economy that you can just build 3 complete towns. But that probably requires your stronghold early, right? Which we don't want to do. We would prefer to build it late. Well, as witches, you just probably wouldn't build your stronghold if you were building it late. Maybe you would, I don't know. Yeah, it would help you ride to things like A1, H1. Oh, that's kind of cute. Try to capitalize on... Oh, but they all have to be connected, that's right. That'll be a little tough, huh? So, okay, so the ice factions are out. The variable factions are out because Riverwalkers are bad and I don't know how to play shapeshifters. And I wouldn't want to pick them first anyway. I think they should be a reaction to what other players are doing, just like Dragon Lords probably are. So we're picking from the base factions. Engineers, dwarves seem playable. Maybe not great. Cultists seem playable, and they're in the top 3. But apparently witches and darklings are kind of like a cut above. Remind me what it's like for the good players? Yeah, witches stay on top, but apparently, again though, there's not that much data at this skill level. Apparently darklings are much worse. Interesting. I guess because weaker players are kind of just used to playing darklings, and so pick them and, I don't know, don't get punished, whereas like the stronger players realize how to play other stuff. I don't know. Oops. I think I'll take witches. But if I do that, what's my opening? Temple for Earth 1 seems great. Try to get a dig. Maybe. I guess if I'm going to be getting this bonus tile, I've got a shot at 1 or 2 digs. And I think this is the one I'll be getting. Someone will have this one, so they'll also have a lot of power. But they'll be coming later than me, and so they'll have trouble maybe getting enough leech in time. Whereas I can like upgrade to a trading post, and then as soon as I get 2 leech, I'll have a total of 12 power in bowl 2, and I can burn 6 of it to double dig in the next... Well, I guess I want to finish the temple first, right? So, it depends. Maybe I could dig early and delay getting Earth 1 by a turn. I'm not sure. I think cultists, darklings, and something gray are good here. In 4th position, Chaos Magicians are probably also fine. Also, I think Dragon Lords or Acolytes could be totally playable in a late position, like 3rd or 4th. So am I okay playing Witches against some subset of those? The Witches Engineers rivalry is not nearly so bad on this map as on base, because they don't share the same town tiles, right? Witches are totally happy to build a town here, and Engineers, like, yeah, they wouldn't mind this space, But it's not amazing. They can go somewhere else. Or like go here and have the witches build here for neighborhood, I guess. This is a pretty cool town that needs a bridge to here or here. Has good connectivity. So I don't know. I think like worrying about engineers being picked is less of a thing. Although, okay, if you're picking witches first, of course in base, engineers would never be picked because they hate witches. In this mode, they might actually be picked, and that would still be fine. It would be kind of awkward, though, to have Darklings and engineers, because you then have one color neighbor and one guy next to you on the color wheel, right? Or one guy 2 spaces away. You would have trouble finding spaces. Cultists have fewer color neighbors in my perspective setups, right? They just have Darklings, and then nobody is, and then like the others are at least 2 steps away. Probably 3 steps for engineers and witches. And cultists are worse, but they're fine. And there's good cult bonuses modulo this one. So how would I open as cultists? It would be really nice to get to like 8 of one of these. Probably not going to waste time getting to 8 here. But I could probably get to like 4 of this by taking like I could try for a double temple opening with like this bonus tile. Getting say Earth 1 and Fire 1 probably gets me up to 4 here. Yeah, definitely. And then I can try to get to 4 here and 4 here for my digs. And then I'll be well placed to get some fire and air in the last couple rounds. Actually, also opening double temple will... I'll have a lot of priests to try to get to 8 air, actually. That's an interesting thought. But I'll probably be passing pretty late in the round if I try to get double temple, because I'll be taking 4 build actions plus probably a power action of some kind. Although maybe not. Also, I'm totally missing out on the dwelling scoring if I take that line. Whereas with the witches, I can capitalize on the dwelling scoring, and then I don't even mind trading post scoring to try to build my way into this full-size town. Yeah, I think witches are a better idea than cultists. Yeah, let's try witches. Okay, I'll refresh and I'll pick witches here. I've thought about it. They all seem playable. I'm not strong enough of a player to like really assess the difference between them. Witches are apparently generally good, and I have a kind of okay plan for what to do to get some points early while still advancing in the directions that I want to go. And then in the end, I'll just try to work it out, right? The only thing that bothers me is I really wish these 2 were switched. I could build like... Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly when. Like, if I build my sanctuary here and take fire 2 and then wait around to found a town, it kind of sucks. But it's probably actually fine. Yeah. Okay. Witches it is. Okay, I'm hitting save. I'm doing it. I'm holding down the mouse button. I just have to release now. Alright, I did it. Alright, and I was the first player... Well, was I the first player to move? No. 2 of my other games, someone else already picked the first faction. But those were the games in which I was not player 2. So there you go. Okay, well, hope you guys enjoyed. And I also hope you're looking forward to the rest of this season, which hopefully will be in about a month. I mean, obviously we have the faction selection videos, but it sounds like the actual game replays might be within the next month or so. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.